Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And rather than bringing you your standard book content, instead, I thought it was a breaking news day because Johanna has realized the error of her ways for all of the horrible things she said about me and Evie and Anitha about the fact that we use star ratings. Well, Johanna has decided that she was wrong about star ratings and that she is going to henceforth give books star ratings. And so we're here to really talk to her about her flip flopping, to see if the people can really trust her since she waffles on her opinions like that, or if we're just going to embrace her back into the fold. Like Anitha says, YouTube should have star ratings. YouTube channels or videos should have star ratings. The stars do, in fact, represent a cosmic sense of order. You're absolutely correct, Mitch.
October, I'm the Miz.
Jimmy, fan of small channels. Jimmy understands that star ratings are, in fact, things that are real. So, Joanna, so I like star ratings. Evie likes star ratings. We'll talk more about those in a minute. So, Joanna, why have you turned your back on the pretentious no star rating viewpoint like Philip and Pete hold? Why have you turned your back on the Axis and come back to the Allied powers?
Okay, first of all, I love the clickbaity thumbnail. I never said any of that. I'm not using star ratings. I
But
am
you
still not using.
will be saying that by the end of this
The
stream.
thing is, Joanna. The thing is, that's the whole point. That's the whole purpose of this discussion. You are though. But you are though. I was able to. No. I'll let you finish. I want to interrupt till the end.
Well, let's give everybody some context in case they didn't see my last wrap up, which, shout out, self plug, go watch my wrap up where I talk about Is Hope a Delusion? Because there you get introduced to my new thing, which is personal resonance ratings. So, what I'm doing now for the books that I read is I give it like on a meter. I don't even like give it a number, but I say low, medium, high, medium, low, and then high off the chart as far as how much the book personally resonates with me. And the reason why I've chosen to do that specifically instead of a star rating is because when it comes to star ratings, one of my biggest issues, let me go backtrack. I did used to star rate books so many years ago. And what I found was it got way too complicated in my own head as far as like what I would rate a book and whether I was just talking about my enjoyment of a book or whether I was talking about the impact of a book or whether I was talking about what the book is actually doing. And what I realized is that there are so many different ways in which you can describe a 3-star rating, for example. A 3-star rating might mean the book was just mid the whole way through, or it could mean the book was kind of boring, but at the same time did all these really cool things. And I don't know, it could mean different things to different people, or it could be like half of the book was amazing and the second half just totally fell flat for me. So I guess like I just felt like ratings in general became too confusing as far as like describing specifics for me personally. And I guess I'm more of a specifics kind of person. And I have nothing, and I've said this over and over again. Like, I have no problem with people wanting to rate books or rate books however they want to rate them and have whatever intricate rating system they want if it's fun for them. Like, if it's fun for you and you enjoy rating books, go at it, have a blast, enjoy yourself. And if you want to rate purely on enjoyment, that's perfectly cool. And if you want to rate because you do a combination, which I've talked to a lot of people recently that seem to do the combination of what is the book doing and a combination of that and my enjoyment level. That's great. I'm happy for everybody who does what they do. But for me personally, I liked the idea of personal resonance rating because to me that's very, very specific. And for me, to say something is personally resonant for me is talking about how much the themes of the story made a personal impact on me, where it's a book that I might be thinking about years later versus just in the moment. And sometimes I can't always account for that. So, like, for example, there was one book in that collection that I talked about, which was the Borges book of short stories, where I said it's medium high with the potential, and I did a transparency to the meter to go higher over time. So for me, like I just liked the fact that when I had the meter, it was something that was very, 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 very specific. Whereas I think with star ratings, they mean so many different things to different people.
Okay, so it took all my self-control to not interrupt multiple times during that. But as this is a fair courtroom, you are allowed your say under the Constitution of Alexandria. But now, first of all, did y'all hear that that Johanna graciously allowed those of us who do use star ratings to use that? And did you hear the dripping contempt in her voice when she's like, now, people that want to rate things, I mean, I guess that's something you could do. I mean, I used to do that back when I was unenlightened and had a very rudimentary kind of understanding of books and what I was reading. But as I grew and matured as a reader, I realized that that was reductive and infantile. Did y'all hear that? Jamie, can you replay the tape for me? Can you look that up? Replay. We're gonna get a replay here in a minute.
Gosh.
Second, did y'all hear when Johanna said she gave it medium high with a potential for high? All I heard is that 4 stars, it might be 5 stars later. Everyone heard that because with Johanna's resonance meter on her last video, I immediately went and translated what she said into star ratings.
She did.
Super high, 5 stars. Super high, 5 stars. Kind of mid-low, 3 stars, maybe 2. So what? Hold on. Oh my gosh, Simon. No one.
Thank you, Simon.
Nah, Simon doesn't have good opinions. So, Evie, did you feel offended by Johanna completely slandering us for using star ratings?
Gosh.
Grossly, it was just like being getting a backhanded compliment. It's it was really sad. I'm just, in case anyone's wondering why I'm here, I'm literally just here to referee Alan and Johanna. So
no bias whatsoever.
You're here to step in should things get nasty?
Get heated, yeah. I'm that security guard in the courtroom, like that Judge Judy security guard.
You're the bailiff?
Yeah.
What's the bailiff of Judge Judy's name? Regardless. Let's get into some actual discussion here. So, are all star ratings like impersonal and unspecific, Johanna? Like, are all star ratings just generic? Like, can't star ratings also be super specific? I didn't say you did. This time I did not say you did. I'm asking because you said that your resonance meter is specific and you like to be super specific, which does imply that people who use star ratings are not. But cannot star ratings be super specific? Is that not possible?
I mean, I think some people are very specific in terms of how they rate books. So actually, maybe I should just turn the question on you guys. Like, what do star ratings mean to you all? And can you explain how they're specific in your systems? Mm-hmm.
So there is Goodreads star ratings, which are 5 stars. What is it? Like, loved it. What is it? 5 stars? Like 4 stars is really liked it. 3 is liked it. 2 is didn't care for it. 1 is like didn't like it at all.
No, 2 is I liked it. 3
is 2 really? Is 2 really? I liked it.
Great inflation. I mean, it's transferred to star ratings.
The problem is like that's not even grade inflation. Like, before Goodreads existed, there were critics, like literary critics and movie critics and TV critics, and nowhere in the history of star ratings have 2 stars ever been like, I really enjoyed this. 2 stars are always like, there's a couple things that maybe you could recommend it and maybe it's not for me or whatever. But like 2 stars is never in the history of literary criticism been, I liked it. So like, I think Goodreads is trying to like change up the narrative just because of its weird star ratings. Like, no one has ever given something 2 out of 5 and said, I like that 2 out of 5 star, except the people who said, guys, what was that? We were talking about in the Discord. Someone said, this is one of the best books I've ever read in my life. 4 out of 5. And it's just like, what? Like, what book was
Because-
that? You remember that,
yeah.
Evie? Someone on Goodreads said it's one of the best books I've ever read. 4 out of 5.
I do remember that. I can't remember what the book was. But to answer your question, Johanna, for me, like star ratings are any sort of rating system is never going to be objective. It's always subjective.
Yeah,
so
that's perfect. Fine. Yeah.
And I think I think I was kind of left a trolling comment of on your video, Johanna, of like personal resonance, like star ratings are personal resonance. Like
they can be. Yeah. Okay. So just to your point, Evie, just want to make, and I think this is why I wanted to have the conversation, because I think there are a couple of different things to clarify about this. So so to be fair, and I know you all are going to run with what I'm about to say, and I'm not about to do it, but let's say I could decide on my Goodreads, I could even write it in the description of my Goodreads, all of my star ratings are equated to my personal resonance meter. And so I could do that. Like that, you could do that. Like say, if it's a 2-star book, this is specifically speaking to how much it personally resonated with me, and that's it. And I agree with you about the subjectivity point, except some people really do. Like I think JCM Bernie in the Fireside Discord, he said that he doesn't just go by his enjoyment level. He also additionally tries to go for what is the book trying to do and how well he feels like it's trying to do it. Of course, that's still subjective, one could say, but in the sense he feels he's removing his personal enjoyment from the equation. And I know that Tori said the same thing, because I actually asked her, I think in her last wrap up, she talked about that her personal subjective taste equating into a rating. Oh my gosh, my cat is meowing. Her personal subjective rating, allowing that to be equating to a rating. And so I said, oh, so you actually allow objectivity into your rating? And she said, yes, I do a balance of both. So there actually are a lot of people who feel like their rating is a combination of trying to understand what the author is trying to do, how well they executed, outside of how much did I really enjoy this book. And I have said before, I think I've said this to you before, Alan, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if I ever did go back to rating books with stars, I would probably go by the Goodreads system of just pure, did I enjoy it? Did I not enjoy it? Did I really enjoy it? And take out everything else, just pure subjective enjoyment. Because I do like the idea of it just being one thing rather than two things. Because if it's two things, then I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean the 3-star means that the book was really doing a great job of what it was achieving? Or maybe let's say 4-star. Does that mean it did a really good job of what it was achieving and you really enjoyed the experience, or more so one or the other? Like that's where it's, I think when you have two variables combined in one rating, there needs to be more picking out, which I mean, I think we all want more reviews in general to support what we're talking about when it comes to a rating. Yes, I agree with that too, because I know that's coming. But I just like I said, I did like the idea that this was one specific variable. And yes, I could make it, like I said, into a star rating. But to me, it's even a little different than saying how much I enjoyed the book.
So this discussion, I mean, I don't have a rebuttal yet. I'm reframing the narrative. The initial discussion about this is not a new discussion that's been had on Goodreads, or sorry, on BookTube. A lot of, especially like several years ago, a lot of people were addressing like star ratings, like in videos. But to me, it was always addressing something that is not like that. They're like setting up straw men. Like the opposition to star ratings, not what Johanna said. Johanna was perfectly eloquent, but the opposition to star ratings generally, and y'all have all heard this, is the fact that, well, they're always like, I prefer a review. Like I prefer to know why the booktuber thought that it was good or why they thought it was bad. And my question was always, who is leaving star ratings? Like aside from what I just did, batch work on Goodreads, like literally an hour ago. But aside from that, who's leaving star ratings, or who's making videos and just saying, I read this book, 5 stars. I read this book 5 stars. I read this book 2 stars. I read this book 1 star. I read this book 3.5 stars. Like, who's doing that?
Well, I have seen videos that have been pretty
Really?
shallow in how but that's been a while, and I don't really watch channels like that anymore. But yeah,
So Joanna's also calling people who use star ratings shallow. That's what I heard.
I heard that also, but
that's
like,
not what I said. That's
I mean,
not what I
what
said,
heard.
Evie.
Look, we've already established, Evie, that Johanna thinks that we are that our ways of viewing books is facile and you know, provincial. But what maybe that's why we're here, Evie. You and I are here to learn. So that
Oh
maybe
my
we can be
gosh. Oh my
urbane.
gosh.
We
Like
can be
everything I'm saying
urbane
is saying,
and cosmopolitan.
goodness.
Well, I did just want to add, like, like, all joking and teasing aside, like, and I think maybe you've mentioned this before, Ellen, but I look at I give star ratings, and I look at other people's star ratings based on the individual person. So, like, Alan, if I see Alan give something 5 stars, I know what he likes, the type of stuff that he likes. So that would be an indicator for me of, like, hey, if I'm gonna like this particular book, and if I'm interested based on Alan gives something 5 stars, or Joanna, you give something, whatever your highest rated meter is, I can't remember. I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna look deeper into that book of what you said to kind of gauge even better of, like, do I want to read this book?
Yeah. Yeah.
Same
I
thing
mean,
for, like,
I do support the idea of whatever rating we give something, we always want to support it with whatever words we are saying, either in the written review or in the video itself. I agree with you, Alan. I think most people do. I agree. Most people do. They go into depth about what the specifics are most of the time, at least.
So
Yeah,
I do understand. Like, I do understand what you're saying. I'm giving you a hard time.
I know.
The reason that I'm starring your
Okay.
resonance meter is because for me, like, that's what my star ratings are. Like, they're
Yeah.
literally just that, but in a star rating. Because you know, my star rating, like, we feel like everyone's, like, star rating has to be, like, it has to just have some kind of objective meaning for the specific reviewer. And again, it doesn't mean the same thing. Like, a 5 star to me doesn't mean the same thing as a 5 star to Evie, or you know, or Jimmy, who, you know, Jimmy doesn't really.
overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, Jimmy doesn't
Jimmy
do
doesn't.
star ratings on his channel. He does positive, overwhelmingly positive. How come you all don't get after him for that?
Tell me how I can't translate overwhelmingly positive to 5 stars. Like,
Oh, you
it's the
can.
same. Like,
I mean,
I can do the
so
same thing with you know, Jimmy's overwhelmingly 5 stars. Like, if I am overwhelmingly positive on something, it's like saying that's the best book I've ever read in my life. 3.5 stars. But it's, you know, overwhelmingly positive on something is 5 stars, and it's fine. Like, people can frame it however they want. I am not super consistent in, you know, my star ratings, because it's how much it resonated with me at the time and how much I enjoyed the reading experience. I am not like Tori and Joe, who are like, you know what, I see what the author was trying to do, and yet I hated every second of reading it. You don't get any points for that. You don't get any points for, like, what you were going for, because I read it and it felt like I was chewing on glass. You don't get points for that, like, none. Now, a good example is Stoner, because a bunch of people found my Stoner review recently and keep commenting on it. And I remember that in that book, I said, I don't think I like this book, but I think I may have loved it. And that is why I gave it 5 stars, because it did resonate with me, at least the back half. And I'm also willing to admit that I am super ending biased. Like, if a book ends really well, like, I just read book 7 of Shadows of the Apt, and it was a drag for 75% of the book. It was following a character that I don't like. I don't really care. And her journey was, like, super boring. And then the last 25%, I was just like, dad gum, this man knows how to write. And that alone elevated it like, above a more consistent book that I like, the third one in the series. So I am super, you know, ending
Yes.
Like the ending can persuade me a lot, can forgive a lot if like
Yeah.
especially like the last section was really good. But like 5 stars for me is like I just read it super like I had no problems. If I struggle through a book, I can't give it 5 stars. But if I just read it like start to finish, just no problems, and I wasn't able to predict every single thing that happened, or it just hit all of my buttons, 5 stars.
Yeah.
My problem comes with like 3 and 4 stars. Like 2 stars and 1 star are super easy for me. 1 star, I hated this book. 2 stars, I did not like this book, but I can see how other people like this book. That is 2 stars for me. For me, 2 stars means I did not enjoy this. I do see how someone like Philip or Joanna could enjoy this. That's Dispossessed. Dispossessed isn't 1 star. Like it's not.
Mhm.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's terrible for me. I did not enjoy it, but I do see how pretentious people might really like it. Simon, Joanna, Jared, Philip. Same thing with Left-Handed Darkness. Also, just like,
Yeah.
but I do see 3 stars is like 3 stars. I think is the hardest one because it's like I didn't like this book is fine. This book is fine. Like it's just fine. Like 3 stars for me means like this is fine. This book's fine. I have a lot of 4-star reads because they're not 5 and they're better than fine, and so I stick them in 4 stars. And
I
I can.
love.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you keep going. I didn't know you
I
were
mean,
finished.
I can see how that's not, consistent. And a lot of times I just reduced a 5-star down to a 4.5 just now while I was batch reviewing stuff and then adjusting my spreadsheet because I'm like, I haven't thought about that book once since I finished it. Not once. So ratchet it down. So I do make adjustments. I don't make adjustments to Goodreads, but I do make adjustments on my personal spreadsheet to 5 stars because again, recency bias and, you know, I later on I'm just like, have I thought about that book like at all? And that's originally when I jacked up Folding Knife for KJ Parker's. I gave it 4 stars. I'm trying to be like objective or whatever, but then I just kept thinking about Basso, and I'm like, I got to jack this up. I think about this book almost every day, so I need to like jack it up. So
I
yeah,
love that. I love that experience. So yeah, it's interesting because I'm going to give you an example of how. Well, first I should respond and say I love your star rating and the examples that you gave, and I feel like that's super super clear. And I've always felt like no ambiguity whenever you give a star rating, Alan. Just to be clear, I feel like you're very clear on why it's a 5 star, 4.5, 3, 2 star, 1 star. I never have any ambiguity about that. And same with Evie. Yeah, Evie, I do read your reviews on Instagram, and of course hear you when you do your bigger videos talking about a lot of books. And I always feel like you're very articulate and clear about what you're loving about the book and astute in your observations about it. I think the one way that I would say my resonance meter is just a little bit different is I'm trying really hard, and this might not be perfect either. So, like, I'm not going to pretend my personal resonance meter is perfect either, like, that there's not inconsistency in this either. It's something I'm just experimenting with. And I thought, well, maybe it'll flop later and I'll find out the big holes in it and I'll get rid of it. But just trying it out for now. But the reason I think it might be a little different is like if I could think of some examples of books that I actually enjoyed and had a good time reading, but they just didn't stay with me. They didn't leave a mark on me. There are a few examples like that. And in fact, this is part of why I started the resonance meter rating is because this year I noticed I kept reading books. I've read a lot of books this year that were well, I enjoyed on some level. Like I got something out of, I felt fairly engaged, but I felt like they didn't personally connect to me. And I'm like, I keep on picking up books that are not deeply personally connecting to me. And I'm like, but I know it's possible. I know I have books in my life where I just feel this deep connection to. And two of them, sadly, this year have been rereads Lines of Alrasan, Clara and the Sun, for example. But yeah, but it is different a little bit because like for example, an example from my last wrap up where I gave a resonance meter rating is the Steinbeck book that Evie and I recently read, The Pastures of Heaven. I don't have a single negative thing to say about that book. Like I think it was thoroughly well written. I think Steinbeck's writing style stands. I mean, everybody loves Steinbeck's writing style for the most part. It's great. I think his characterization is excellent. I love the themes he went for. Very well executed. And I thought it was darkly humorous at times and hard hitting at times. And at the same time, personal resonance rating was low. It would have been, it's at the very bottom for me. It just didn't feel like it did anything for me on a deeper level. Like it was enjoyable. I got, I don't regret reading it. I enjoyed our discussion, but it just didn't do much for me beyond that.
So
So
I think I completely get that. I would rate something like that like 1 or 2 stars, regardless of
okay.
how good it is. And
Yeah.
and I think the problem comes is when people try to pretend like star ratings are objective.
Yeah.
When you have something and you say star and people see star ratings and they think that that means that the author is a bad author. So
Right.
I don't think Ursula K. Le Guin is a bad author. Based on the 2 books I have read of Ursula K. Le Guin, I do not think she is an author for me,
Good. Yeah.
because as far like for me, it is themes, characters, like themes dressed up like characters. Then and nothing happens except really long journeys across the ice or propertarians and having to listen to Shevek's garbage backstory. But I don't think Ursula K. Le Guin's a bad author. But there are people who go after me when they listen to my review and see my 2-star rating of Dispossessed. They come after me because for them it is about me disparaging Ursula K. Le Guin herself.
Right.
If I read
Yeah.
that Steinbeck book that y'all read that you're talking about, I promise you, like the whole that just that period of American literature and the geographical regions that we're in are just not for me. And so I would probably not enjoy it. Now, if it did resonate, some of the themes and stuff resonated with me, I would probably, I would jack it up. But like if it's a chore to read, that is already hard. Like the themes have to hit super hard for me to elevate something above something that's difficult to read, like Moby Dick. I enjoy Moby Dick. That book's impossible to read, but there's a bunch about whaling in it, and I like whaling. And also I like to be a little bit contrary. So I would give Moby Dick a high star rating, even though most people probably think it's super boring.
Wait, have you read Moby Dick? I just have to ask that really quickly.
Not recently. I mean, I've read it in the last 20 years, but I've not read it recently. I need to. Well, I was going to reread it, but then my buddy Finlay's uncle is like the #1 like Melville scholar in the country, and he's like, no, let me give you a whole bunch of other books on whaling you can read. And so I have a list of like whaling books to read, including something else by Melville that is actually more about whaling than Moby Dick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I have to read that stuff. But I get that. Like I get like I think like star ratings for me are personally resonant stuff, but a lot of people treat them as if like I do when something doesn't resonate with Anitha like it resonates with me. I'm like, Anitha, you are wrong in the star rating you're giving this book. And I think we all do that a little bit, where it's like, this is a 5-star book. What do you mean Game of Thrones is 2 stars for you? Like, what do you mean? That doesn't make any sense. Like, can you read? Like, are you able to actually understand the words on the page? You need to read it better. But the whole reading it better thing that we're told is also ludicrous.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you. See, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. If somebody is just rating based on how they personally connected to a book, which is what I'm doing with my personal resonance thing, and then being told, that or getting all types of hate comments. How dare you give Steinbeck 1 star or 2 star? What's wrong with you? You're illiterate, all this garbage. Yeah, that's a problem, and I don't know, I guess, like, I'll give you another flip though example of how enjoyment for me does not necessarily equate 100% with personal resonance. So another example that I can give is a book you and I read a couple years ago, or I guess it was a couple years ago now. Wow. Gone Girl. I had so much fun with that book. I had a blast.
I agree.
It was just such a good time. Do I think about that book? No. I know. I had to remind myself recently that I read that book, and do I think it did well for what it was trying to do? Yeah, I think it did. I'm as far as I know, I'm not an expert in that genre, but I thought it was a page turner. I had so much fun with it. I would totally read more books like that. But as far as like speaking to me on a personal, deep level, it's low. It's a
Yeah.
low resonance score, but
So
it's still
that's
a
where
great
mine
time.
leans a little bit more into enjoyment, because I don't think Gone Girl's a good book. Like, I don't. Like, I don't think it's a good book, but man, did I have a blast reading it. So it is a little different because it didn't resonate with me in any way. But like, I just tore through it, and it's just not good, but it is so entertaining. Yeah, it was. And the thing is, I would have loved that book if part 3 did not exist. Man, that would go on like one of my all-time faves. Just part 3 kind of messes it up
I
for me.
wish we had discussed that book together. I loved your review. I'm like, dang it, we should have discussed it because we read it around the same time. That would have been
And
fun.
and that's like, I have a soft spot for those domestic thriller books. Beyond Her Eyes, really stupid, but also not as enjoyable. Behind Closed Doors, so stupid, but like, I think I enjoyed it even more than Gone Girl, because of how, like, that author does not care. That author is saying, I do not care if this is absolutely infeasible. I'm going for it. And I'm like, you know what? Good for you. Because this is, if you stop and think, it's like Greek mythology. If you pull on the thread, the whole thing comes apart. And then The Wife Stalker, also dumb, but so entertaining. I think it's, I don't know. And now we're getting to the thing of like, why read, Joanna? Like,
Yep.
sometimes
Yes.
I want to be entertained. Sometimes I
Yeah.
just want to be entertained.
Yeah.
You know that I am not of the school that I do not need to learn from everything that I read. I do not need, like, everything I read doesn't have to be academic and pretentious like you and Jimmy and Philip. Sometimes I just need to read something because I like reading. You guys purposely read obtuse, weird crap nobody's ever heard of. And then you convince everyone who wants to feel smart to join you in reading your dumb crap. And then you guys have big discussions where y'all pontificate about how much smarter you are than the rest of us, especially Alan, who could never understand this book that y'all are trying to discuss. Would you care to
That is
rebut that?
so not true at all. But oh well, okay. And here's the thing: I do read for different reasons too, though. And like, and how do I talk about this? So I sometimes pick up romance books for fun, and I hesitate saying this because I know, like, with like Emily Henry, those would be like 5 stars for Evie, right? And super high personal resonance. Is that accurate to say?
So I was actually gonna say, well, going back to a comment that Matt made in the chat, is enjoyment is not enjoyment is subjective itself. So my sense of enjoyment comes from, you know, the themes of a book, or
Mhm.
how well that they speak to me. Looking at themes, looking at writing, looking at characters. Sometimes it's the plot, and even then, it depends upon the novel or the work. A 5-star romance is not necessarily at the same level of a 5-star fantasy for me.
Mhm.
But still, I would rate them both 5 stars because I enjoyed them both for what they were doing in their genre and what have you. So yes and no for personal resonance. Like, I don't know. Um, Happy Place, 5-star on every single scale that you could think of. I don't care what your scale is. 5 stars for me. But yeah, no, I mean, there's some things, like what I've been doing is rating things 4.5 stars, unless I absolutely am sure, like, nope, this is taking over my entire personality. So it gives me that wiggle room of like, actually, I I was on a high and I rated it higher than it should be, or over time it's kind of stuck with me even more.
The thing is, when I read a lot of a singular author, my ratings change also, because now I'm no longer rating individually, I'm rating against the author's other books. So I seem harsher. It's why like freaking Kyle is determined that I don't like KJ Parker anymore. That's not true. It's just that I've read
all the great ones.
I've read almost everything he has written, and that is not 4 books. It's like 30 books. And so I'm now rating it. I'm just like, why can this man not produce anything that is like the stuff that I liked that he wrote? Like, I don't like what you're writing now, KJ Parker, even though he still has all of the hallmarks that I really like from a KJ Parker novel, just the way he writes, like the long extended discussions of boring logistical manufacturing stuff. Like, all of that's there, but it's not Purple and Black or The Folding Knife or, you know, any of those books of his that I super, super love. And so I'm just like barely a 3-star, Parker, 2 stars, Parker. What are we doing? And Kyle's like, well, you hate KJ Parker now. It's like, no, I'm just rating it compared to the other books I've read. I do this with Daniel Abraham. I do this with Sebastian de Castell now. So yeah, that changes also when I'm rating things within. So it's a rating system within a rating system. So, you know, because I'm not going to give everything an author writes 5 stars. I'm comparing it against the pinnacles that I've read of him. And so that kind of shuffles things around for me also, especially when I go back and reread stuff after I've read a bunch of the author's stuff. I want to highlight Akibator here said earlier, I think self-curation leads to more 5-star reviews. You know what you like when you select books. It's more likely you're reading books you like. That's another thing with like the kind of grade inflation thing. If you're not super experimental with what you read, like Johanna and Jimmy are, you guys are much more experimental with what you read than I am. Like I only pick books that I think I'm going to enjoy. Like that are, and not that y'all don't think you're going to like the books that you pick. Like, I'm sure you knew that you were going to like that book about the roach or whatever. Like, I'm sure oh my gosh, that's for me. I pick like books in a similar, like, I don't go outside my genre very often. I pick books that are similar. I read a lot of military fantasy. You know, I read a lot of, you know, the same type of books. And so I generally think that I'm going to enjoy them going in. That isn't to say that I don't like reading things outside. That's why I like the patron wheel when they make me read something that I would not have read on my own. Like what have I read recently? Evie?
Spiderlight? I mean, that's Adrian Tchaikovsky. So
I just finished Spiderlight, but what else did people put on there? I don't know. Just people put books on there that I would not have read or would have taken forever to get to on my own. Like 6 of Crows is the next one I'm going to read. Like I'm never going to get to 6 of Crows. I'm never going to get to 6 of Crows, except that's the next one I'm going to do. So I tend to have higher ratings just in general, because when Johanna's like, hey, well, you don't do this anymore, but when you're like, hey, do you want to read this super existential, pretentious book that's like 98 pages, but it'll feel like 1,000? Would you like to read this? And so then we can talk about how stupid you are and you didn't understand it. I'm like, I'm probably not going to enjoy that book because it uses the word existential. And also Philip likes it. So I'm probably not gonna read that. Instead, I'm gonna read this thing that says, oh, and the war came to Camnopol. And I'm like, yes, I love it when the war comes to Camnopol. Jimmy, welcome. You also do not use star ratings in your Chatting with Nuts reviews. You use a positive, negative spectrum. Would you like to talk about why you do that, why you feel like you do that, what you feel like your review system does differently than
justify yourself, Jimmy?
Well, this is I'll first say,
now Jimmy's a friend of the channel, unlike Johanna, so Jimmy doesn't have to justify himself. We just want an explanation.
I'm jet lagged. I just ate a lot of Indian food. I'm in a bind. So
where'd you come from? India?
For Ireland, right? Yeah.
Ireland.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it was amazing. Lovely. As always, seeing StoryTube. And
awesome.
boy RJ, who is a legend on Jeopardy. Yeah, this is Alan. This is dangerously close to BookTube meta conversation, which is cringe. So,
did you see the thumbnail?
you're
Goodness.
you're towing the line.
It's not, because I did not make a big title about how booktubers are doing it wrong.
Listen, I get views are down. You got to do what you got to do.
This is trial by BookTube.
Let's try to keep some integrity. Okay, let's try to keep some integrity here.
Guys, look, Bookborn uses star ratings, and isn't she really the trendsetter? How do you answer that?
I would say so.
That's
I
what
would
I'm
say
saying.
so. I'd probably be better off to use star ratings. I did the system one because I like Steam's rating system. I've always found it useful when I go to like buy a video game.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, what if I just steal that completely? But then I changed it a little bit because the wording I would have like mostly positive, and people would be like, yeah, but that like means like you barely liked it. I'm like, no, the word mostly would indicate that most of my experience is positive. People are like, it doesn't sound like that. And I'm just like, the point of that story is to tell you that it's all for naught. And no matter what you try to do to make it not a star rating, it is a star rating. And people just look for the value of the, like, it's just like, what did you think about it? What was the value of that book? So it's completely a waste of time to try to get people to pay attention to what you're saying, because on the internet, no one pays attention to what anyone is saying and will just take their own thing away from it. So this is all futile. We should all delete our channels.
Wow. Jimmy coming in.
And another thing, I think a lot of rating systems that get away from star ratings are in an attempt to be nicer than they should. And what I mean by that, yeah, and what I mean by that is a lot easier to say, you know, execution was brilliant, this and that. Not my type of book, which is a valid state. I say that. But there are times where I'm like, is this person just trying to avoid being mean? Is that all this is? Like, I wonder that at times. If it's used.
Is that what this is, Johanna?
Oh, I'm not even accusing of Johanna, but yes, answer that,
Yeah.
Johanna. I'm curious.
I'm trying to think of an example. Can you give an example of that?
As Johanna,
Like your friend writes a book and you don't like it. And then you're like, it's a great book. And not for, I didn't like it, but like, it's a great book. And I always wonder, I'm like, is this just to save face? Or is this, I'm not accusing you individually of this, Johanna. I'm just,
Well, I know. I'm just trying to understand how that relates to star rating specifically, though. Like, are you saying that they're more likely to give the book?
I'm saying they're more likely not to use a star rating.
Oh, not use a star rating altogether. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There might be truth to that. Yeah.
Which there's a lot to talking about a book or reviewing it or whatever. So it's a totally valid thing to do.
Yeah.
There's just a piece of me sometimes and I'm like, are people just trying to be friendly? Which is, I understand that. Well, none of us take this too serious, hopefully.
Jimmy,
So,
I think
do you
Jimmy,
know Bookborn, the Song of Ice and Fire book reviewer?
George R. R. Martin's favorite booktuber, man.
I do.
Kirk Chumley, the Las Vegas entrepreneur.
On the flip side, Jimmy, I actually, you know, I'm going to make a broad, sweeping generalization here. I think it all kind of goes back to being on the internet, where people are going to get outraged if you give their favorite book less than 4 stars. So there might be this hesitancy to give star ratings because you don't want to face any sort of internet backlash.
Well, and it's just annoying whenever you give a star, then you do a 20-minute review and no one listens to a single word you say and they just go off star. I mean, that's what's frustrating about it. And that was my attempt to maybe have more of a nuance around it, but it doesn't. My point is, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't help. It doesn't help in the live format. Like, I figure, like, for those people that watch it live, it's probably helpful.
Probably, I would say that's true, just because less people on average watch them. So, to me, it's like the people here in chat or the people that comment on videos are like the 1% of viewers. Like, you'll have thousands of views and however many comments. Like, it's such a small fraction of the people. I'm talking about like people we've never heard from. They do not care. Like, they just want to know, was this book something you enjoyed or not? Because I like this person's books that they like. So it all comes down to just this, judgment. which does lead to people like, let's say I come out and I read Augustus fully and I give it 1 star. There might be someone to be like, I thought I could trust Jimmy because he likes stoner. Like that's a thing, which sucks. But
I mean, to that point, I guess this is tangential. Like, something that I found is sometimes I'll read a book and it just hits at the right time. As a specific example, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chokshi. If I had read that now, I probably would not like it.
What's that book you just said? Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Why don't any of you read books anybody's heard of anymore?
Anyways,
every time I look on Goodreads and I see Jimmy is reading, I'm like, what is that book?
Yeah, I would say this month qualifies for that. You got me there. Yeah,
I gotta look at your Goodreads now. But I you know, speaking to your point though earlier, I just don't look at Goodreads a lot. I'll just be honest. But speaking to your point about how it's almost like a cop out to like not have a star rating and read, you know, maybe a friend's book or something. I do feel that there could be more pressure if you have a star rating and know the person that you're reading a book from. And I do, and maybe this is a cop out a little bit, but I do feel like if I have a personal resonance, if I'm saying how much a book personally resonated with me, it feels to me less mean to say this book is, I read this book and I notice all this like good stuff that's happening or whatever. But for me, personal resonance, super low. It just didn't personally resonate for me. Like it feels so much safer to me to say that one thing, personal resonance, super low versus 1 star. Like that does, it does feel like I will admit that does feel lighter and easier to me on my conscience to say that. I am
less likely to give a star rating if it is an author that I know, like in real life and correspond with. I just am like, I don't know. Like it's also, you know, I cannot accurately talk about Philip's books when I'm the narrator. Like I can't be like, hey, so this book's trash, but you should read it, and especially listen to the audio because I don't think it's trash. Just in case Philip was watching it, I don't. But like if I hated it, I could not say, hey, I hate this book, but I got paid to do the voices. You should listen to it. Like I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm just like, hey, y'all should listen. Y'all should read this book and support Philip and support me. Sebastian de Castell last year wrote The Malevolent Eight, which I listened to completely on audio, which was my first mistake. I did not enjoy the audio.
Was it Malevolent 7?
Yeah, there was a Malevolent 7, but then there was
so he did an X one.
Correct, and there's the nine is coming out this year. But I was fine with Malevolent 7. It's fine. I enjoyed it. It's like the anti-Great Coats because it's a bunch of bad guys instead of good guys. But 8, I did not enjoy at all. Like it was not for me. Like there was just too much, and I did not like the narrator's voice for the main love interest, like at all. And I did not enjoy it at all. Like I was just like, I do not like this book. But like Dom and Leslie, like they gave it 5 stars. They loved it. So I did not leave a star review. I left a review saying this book is not for me. If you want to know what this book has on offer, please go look at these 2 5-star reviews and see if that sounds like something that you would like. But for me, it just didn't work. I didn't like the audio. I hate all of these characters. They're just like bad people that I don't want to root for. And so it just didn't work for me. But I didn't give it 1 star because I talk with that author, you know, not on the reg, but like every time there's another book of his coming out, I have a conversation with him or whatever. So I'm less likely to leave a star rating, and that's fine. And I don't care. Like I don't care admitting that. Like I'm just not going to be like, hey, I appreciate, you know, that, you know, you correspond with me and send me arcs and stuff. I hated your book. And I put that it's not for me, and it isn't for me. And I do understand how other people could like it, but it is not for me. So
there's also everyone has biases as much as they like to think that they do or do not, or don't. Sorry.
That's the headline.
Yeah. So it's that plays into star ratings. Like Alan, you're gonna give the Emily Henry book you're reading right now 1 star. Which
Wait, you're reading Emily Henry? Really?
This is my 3rd Emily Henry book,
Oh, wow.
Johanna.
Oh,
Yeah, I listened to it when I listened to them between other audio reads because Julia Whalen is fantastic.
she
And
is. She's the
yeah,
same one from Gone Girl. Did you know that? The same
I did
narrator.
not listen to Gone Girl.
Oh, I listened to the
That is
audiobooks.
awesome.
She's
really
fabulous. Yeah.
good. But anyway, so I'm not going to give it 1 star because I think Emily Henry's a good writer. Like, I don't think it could be 1 star, but the heroine's insufferable in this particular one. At least 2 chapters
Wait,
in.
which one are you reading right now?
People we meet on vacation. I'm listening to
Oh.
it because Christina wants to watch the movie.
Oh.
So
That's cool.
I'm listening to that, and then we'll go watch the movie because she's read it and I have not.
Hmm. Did you want to highlight Simon's question?
Oh, sorry, Simon. Thanks for thanks for supporting the channel. Question for all 4. I did not enjoy My Dark Vanessa at all, but it's a brilliantly written book that deals with important and very difficult themes. I'm glad I read it. How would you rate that? So this is one of the things. Like I don't think I enjoyed Stoner very much. Like I said, I don't think I liked Stoner, but I did love Stoner. Especially the back half that deals with him as a professor and not him as just a schmuck husband.
Too real.
So I don't know. I think that you cannot enjoy a book and rate it highly. Like, I don't have a bunch of those books where like I did not enjoy the experience of reading this, but I think its intrinsic value is high enough to rate it highly. I don't have a bunch of those. But maybe, I mean, Jimmy and Johanna read pretentious books all the time, so maybe they have one.
I have thoughts about this because I have read My Dark Vanessa. I know that Jimmy has as well. So I guess the way I see it when it comes to this topic is that I don't feel like there is, I feel like we use the word enjoyment, and that's kind of like a broad umbrella term. But in general, there are, or maybe more specifically, I should say, there are many different types of impactful experiences with books or aesthetic experiences with books. So there are some books that can leave you with like the warm fuzzies, which I imagine what Emily Henry's books are designed to do. There are books that are left to make your mind just spin for days and make you feel small and give you this sense of the sublime, which is like, I think what a lot of science fiction is trying to do, or what everybody keeps saying about the 3-body problem and the second book in that series and what that does. And then there are books that I feel like are meant to be emotional and deeply, I guess, nostalgic in a sense. And you could say maybe Guy Gabriel Kay does that really well. So I feel like there are different types of aesthetic experiences that we could have with a book. And some books, they could just make us continue to think about something maybe, or remind us of something. So I don't think that just saying like, this book made me happy is like it's going to be accurate for all types of books. We read books for different reasons, as we talked about. And so there are going to be different types of experiences, but that doesn't mean that they are less impactful just because they are having a different type of aesthetic response in us, or eliciting a different type of aesthetic response in us. For me, My Dark Vanessa, I would probably, if I were to rate it personal resonance, I would say high, because I still think about that book years and years later. And it was absolutely one of the most disturbing books I've ever read in my life. Like, I felt like I had to detox like for days after reading that book. I felt icky. I felt icky in my skin reading that book. And yet I felt like it was saying something really important, had a deeper message, I suppose, through this very personal narrative that was, it was gross and icky. But I think it was impactful in the way that the author intended it to be impactful.
So speaking on 3-body problem, the trilogy in general, one, I liked the book. I think the first book is better than the second book. One, it's shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it has a lot of like, I
You
don't
just
think
like video games.
I don't think the TV show does a very good job with translating what is good about the book onto the screen. And then the second book, I'm not sure the second book is very good. I think a lot of the stuff that happens in the second book is really cool. And the reveal that you're waiting for in the second book is awesome. But like there's a really big section of the second book, Dark Forest, that people told me was just freaking awesome. And I'm like, I think I have read other books that have done something similar here, and so it didn't impact me the same way. And also, there is a huge romance subplot in the Dark Forest that takes up way too much page time, undermines what it's trying to do, and is super boring. And it's not just me. Like, I have like other people I've talked to about this book who like other things besides me in books do not understand why that is there, and it's not good. And I've not read the third one yet, so I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe for me to like be blown away, something has to happen in a book that I didn't expect, that I'm going to think about, because I'm like, oh man. So KJ Parker's Scavenger trilogy is just a magnificent disaster.
Oh, no.
Because the whole premise of it is a literal unreliable narrator. The narrator has amnesia. And for 3 books, we are trying to figure out who this guy is, and is he a reincarnation of the god Poldarn? The problem is, the 3rd book is so riddled with editorial errors that you don't know if it's narrative. Like, it's like, wait a minute, what? Like, this doesn't make sense with something. It's just an error. But the whole time you're like, wait, is this a reveal? Is this like a narrative inconsistency because he doesn't remember? No, it's an error. And there's so many of those in the 3rd book that Anitha and I were infuriated. And the problem is, the ending is the very ending part is one of my favorite endings of any book I've read, certainly recently. It was so unexpected for me, and yet everything was there for you to predict it. I didn't predict it. It was so bleak, and I was like, what a waste. This awesome thing that I'm still thinking about. I'm still thinking about this awesome thing that happened, just wasted on this trash series. Like, it's just I don't know what that has to do with anything other than the fact that, like, for me, I don't know, like, something has to happen that I think about beyond that really like cements something as one of my favorites. And I think I get really vengeful at a book that does that, like this, and yet the rest of the book was garbage, because I'm mad that this could have been one of my favorite books that I think about forever, and instead it's just like this experience is just marred by just bad, like, boring, like, get someone to edit your book, bro. Like, I know you live in the woods, but your wife's there. Like, get her to read it and say, hey, Tom, this is inconsistent. Also, you have a publisher. Like, what are y'all doing? Not even the publishers read KJ Parker.
No,
Not even
not
the
a
publisher.
chance.
Not even his own editor.
Is the Scavenger a commentary on him scavenging to find readers?
It is. It's a meta commentary on BookTube and whether or not booktubers have sold out, and are books even good anymore, according to booktubers. I actually asked. I'm going to bring up the data in a second. Jamie, can you pull that up? I'm going to bring up the data. I asked over 80 booktubers whether or not booktubers have sold out, and whether booktubers can be trusted. And I'm not going to reveal the data here, because then that y'all wouldn't click on my video. That's going to come out, but just be looking for it. It'll have me on the thumbnail going. So just be ready for that. It's going to go viral.
Ready for it.
And then a bunch of people will make a video in response to my video. How much
the thing Alan got wrong? I can see it now with your reaction thumbnail in the side, and then my reaction to said thumbnail.
Of course, I missed a whole bunch of. What show did you like, Jimmy? The 3 Body Problem show?
The one Lewis said.
Okay.
The Devil All the Time.
I thought you were going to say the 3 Body Problem show. That was not a good show. It was,
I liked it. I didn't hate it. Yeah, I mean, like, did I love it? Am I clamoring for season 2? No. Well, I watched these 2 because I probably.
I hope they need to fire Augie and let Jin do all the work, because Augie sucks. Okay,
I
so
also like a lot of actors in that
Okay.
show. So
you don't like the girl that plays Augie, surely?
no, not really.
Okay,
No,
good.
just Davos, Samwell, and then the
I mean,
cop.
yes. Yeah, that's hold on. The rest of the book was garbage. I am not talking about Storm of Swords. The whole book is good. Storm of Swords, get out of here with that nonsense. Look at Sam trying to.
That's wild. That's a wild.
Are you a booktuber, Pete? Still? So, Jimmy, are you still a booktuber if you give star ratings, or do you have to like ascend into this new era of why? Hold on, I'm throwing that out. Why is there not there needs to be a Steam for books where it's like, okay, we got 113,000 reviews in, with much of the response being mostly positive. Like when I watch my Skill Up Week in Video Games, where it talks about out this week, and it always quotes it's got Steam mostly rating. Positive reviews on Steam.
Yeah, I just think it's a really good system. I've used it many times because it might be like, slightly positive or mostly positive or whatever. And then you can like click on, and because you might be like, oh, that's weird. Or you can see like the recent consensus to the overall consensus, which usually tells you if something went really, like a new patch came out for a game and everyone loves it, or maybe they broke the game by adding microtransactions. You know what I mean?
I think that's a great system, by the way. I have not used Steam. Well, I guess my husband does, and I guess I played games on Steam, but I didn't know about that system. And I don't think I realized that your system was adopted from that, but
I didn't either.
I've had really people comment and tell me like I'm a hack for copying it, which I find ironic because it's like not like star ratings were invented in 2020, but it's fine. Oh, wait, what? I thought you guys loved Legend by David Gemmell.
No, he said except Babel and Legend. Except Babel and Legend.
She wouldn't talk like that. She didn't want the open hand.
Guys, what kind of microtransactions can we add to BookTube?
I mean, you could argue that some of this already exists in the sense that like there's extra chapters at different retailers.
Oh.
Now, in the defense of the author and authors that do this, every single time they're free on the website.
Really?
So when people make these outrage videos like this has to come to an end, and it's like, yeah, but like it also doesn't. Because it's online for free and you're just
gosh. I've only heard anger about that, I think, over some Sarah J. Maas book, which I wasn't reading anyway. But
yeah,
now that I know that I didn't realize that the authors usually have it for free on the website. That's
yeah. Well, that would make the video justify outrage, right? Like people love it, especially if it's about a romantasy author. It's like, let's get them.
Gosh,
we can all come together to attack
bash romantasy.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, aren't we?
I mean, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I would legitimately rather read an Emily Henry romance book than a romantasy. And I don't know why.
I could see that, and I can tell you why. I don't like the fantasy elements some romantasy that's really popular uses. Like Fae, Beauty and the Beast. Like I'm not really into that stuff. Now I will say Fourth Wing at least had dragons, so that was pretty sick. I'm sure other romantasies have dragons. That's why I said only the ones I've, heard about or I've read a sample of. But I don't really like the Fae. I don't like him in Dresden.
I don't like him in anything.
Me either. Just not my thing.
Yeah,
that's why I did not side with the frickin' Scoia'tael in Witcher 2, and instead went with Vernon Roach and the humans. Eat it, Scoia'tael. Quit being Fae. Just ran through that camp, ransacked it.
I'm kind of similar. I sometimes enjoy romance books. I picked up a few Emily Henry books, but I just don't feel any inclination towards romantasy these days. It's more so contemporary romance if I pick it up. I'm a little bit interested in historical romance, but I have no idea where to start with that. So it's more just like an idea in my head.
Well, guys, next question. Is epic fantasy dead?
What?
So epic fantasy.
Oh, no. I love how we're making this the most clickbaity discussion of all time.
Is epic fantasy dead? Jimmy, we'll start with you.
Yep.
Because I've heard that epic fantasy is dead in many videos.
Better than my grandfather.
Look, Johanna didn't Johanna start this? Wasn't it Johanna and Evie?
Yeah. I guess I'm responsible. Tori and I started a video called "Where Are You?" At the time, we weren't seeing as many debuts published in epic fantasy.
Thank God.
But I did not. We never said it was dead, and we talked about also stuff going on in the indie sphere and stuff like that. So I don't know. But since then, of course, people who are really good at clickbaity stuff really ran with this title of "Is Epic Fantasy Dead?" So
I mean,
what's the last epic fantasy you read, Johanna?
I'm sorry?
Same question. What's the last epic fantasy y'all read?
I'm currently reading Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb.
Is that epic fantasy?
I mean, I think so. Is it not?
See, I don't know.
Fantasy, but I don't know.
Sure.
What is epic fantasy? Like, would you
is
like
Hunger Games epic fantasy?
No. Is Game of Thrones epic fantasy, right? For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, maybe I just don't read epic fantasy. Who knows?
I mean, there's the reason why I think it's totally valid to look at it and be like, hey, a lot of epic fantasies like debut, like that's not a lot of people's debuts anymore.
Yeah.
That's true, and it's kind of interesting to think about like why that is. But then there's just like this influx of outside voices that are like, it's because of romantic or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I find that annoying because it's just like, or the trend is not like the system of which you publish books does not reward that right now. So go read one of the million ones that exist, because God forbid we read anything before 1990. Like there's just, I mean, there is such a backlog of epic fantasy that you could probably read for the next 5 years.
Oh yeah, that's
like,
true.
why does it have to be new? I guess, like while we ride this trend out, why not go back and then bring popularity to those old series that maybe a publisher sees this thing catch on, or like, hey, we could find a series that's like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like that would make sense if your mission is that you want more epic fantasy, you know, bring stuff to the line. It just seems like a actionable thing if you're upset by it. Not saying inventory where Johanna, I'm not saying that.
Yeah. And I like the more I think about it, like it's been a couple of years since she and I had that discussion, and I'll be perfectly honest in saying, in some ways, I feel kind of bad about bringing up the topic in the first place, because I am the worst when it comes to reading debuts, is what I've realized recently. Like I can't remember the last debut I've read in when it comes to SFF, with the exception of like indie published stuff.
Are you talking about debuts like when they come out? Because you've definitely read people's first novels.
Yeah, I mean, like within the last 5 or 6 years, debuts that have come out within the last 5 to 6 years. I think I brought this up in the Fireside Discord. I'm like, name a debut that has come out within the last 5 or 6 years. And I said, it could be any genre, but I am curious mostly about fantasy. And name one that made a deep impact on you. And I think like the one author that came up was Simon Jimenez, which Evie will be happy to hear. But aside from that, I just don't hear a lot about, I guess I just haven't picked up a lot when it comes to debuts. I'm actually going to pick up Ray Naylor's The Octopi book. I can't think of what it's called.
Oh,
Jimmy, you read
Mountain
it.
in the Sea.
Mountain in the Sea. I'm going to try to pick that up this next year. I know that's his debut and it came out in 2022. And I really want to pick up The Poet Empress, because I keep hearing rave reviews about this fantasy standalone. But
yeah,
I'm also honestly the worst. I actually am a little bit more drawn towards the older stuff.
Evie sent me a book by A.S. What is that author's name, Evie? The kind of samurai type of Game of Thrones thing.
Oh, A.S.
What is that called? God. I'm forgetting. It's like A.S.
It's the Book of Fallen Leaves.
That seems like an epic fantasy. That's a debut, right? Like I think that counts.
I haven't heard of it.
And it's traditionally published. So
yeah.
What's it called again?
I can't remember.
Book of Fallen Leaves by A.S. Tamaki.
Yeah.
I get Orbit notices, and so I don't get notices for a bunch of other things, but I get Orbit notices. Orbit is not in the business of producing epic fantasy right now. That is just not the trend. because none of them, they're like, we're happy to welcome this person's debut novel. And it mentions like, oh, with a nice cozy will they, won't they? I'm like, what? No, Orbit.
Nice
I don't
cozy
want
will they,
Well,
won't they?
this one we're talking about from Orbit, and it's not that.
Yeah,
You might
it
like
is.
it.
It is. That is the
Yeah.
exception. But because most of the books they send, I'm just like pass, or it's like a new KJ Parker book, which I'm like, it's already on my list. It's not a debut. Like the continuations are fine, but a lot of their new debuts, when they're like, hey, look at this new author, I'm like, I just wouldn't read that book. It's not for me. And that is, but I don't possess, like, I'm not quite as egocentric to go on my channel and make a video about how, Orbit is washed now, right? Orbit's busted because its new debuts are not books that I want to read. I don't speak Latin. I don't walk around speaking Latin. So there. And you are pretentious.
The
Jared.
failures. Sorry, Andre mentioned the failures. I read that. I thought it was pretty good.
To I guess bring this back to star ratings. It's interesting, I think, about the volume of ratings, and I think that is driving the market of, like Romantasy has like hundreds of thousands of ratings on Goodreads, whereas it's an epic fantasy might have like, I don't know, in comparison 10,000 or something, which is still a lot, but is it's just not as popular, or it's not being read as much. What was I gonna say?
Johanna, when is your? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, Bearhead is actually wound up being one of my like best books of last year, but I hated every single like page of reading it, but I gave it 5 stars because
Why?
The characters were so absolutely infuriating, and it was intentionally so. Well, one particular character was infuriating, and that was intentional. So,
Johanna,
but why did you give it 5 stars? I'm sorry, like, just because it was intentional, or
because the execution of it all, like the one character that was so infuriating and triggering, like literally, I genuinely had to like every single time I got to this character's perspective, I had to put the book down because of either something that happened or something that was said or whatever. I had to put the book down and like take a break for like a few days and then come back to it.
From my understanding is the book was really good, but it resonated way too much with current events.
Yes.
And so that is why she hated it, because of stuff that is going on IRL.
Yep.
But it was super well done. That's from what I understand. Is that right?
okay,
Yep.
yeah.
Johanna, when is your next resonance meter vid?
That's a good question. So I'm trying to do it with my wrap ups, but I don't know 100% if I'm going to have a wrap up for May, because I've read 2 books and I'm in the middle of a third, and I don't know if I'll finish. I doubt I'll finish Fool's Fate in a couple of days.
You could
But
just batch read them as when you get enough.
I mean, I might combine May with June. We'll see, but that'll probably be my next one. It's just whatever my next wrap up is. And also, speaking about, we were talking earlier about picking up books that are experimental for you, or books that you know that you're going to enjoy, or pick up books that you don't know if you're going to enjoy. I did put out a science fiction TBR the other day. Was that yesterday? No, day before yesterday. And I did actually have a couple of books on there that I said, I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy. One of those being 1984, and the other one being Brave New World. And I'm doing this as an experimentation because I feel like I have an aversion to dystopia, to dystopian literature. And that's been proven wrong so many times. But I think I also am nervous to read it because of the same reasons Evie was just bringing up, like it's in real life situation that makes me uncomfortable with this idea of reading dystopian literature. So,
I mean, you like Claire and the Sun.
Yes, I love Claire in the Sun, and that's why I'm like there are exceptions. There clearly are exceptions. Like I'm clearly wrong about this, but I also love being wrong about things. Like I love that. I think there's something that
You can't admit that on the internet, Johanna. Everyone has to be right.
well, I mean, I love being proven wrong when it comes to books. Like I love that. I love picking up a book that I think might not be for me, and then it blows me away. Like that's one of the best experiences I think I one can have is to just totally blow your expectations out the window.
That was
So,
me with Dungeon Crawler Curl. Like
there you go.
everyone was shocked, as even including myself, of how much I loved that book. Hi, Addie.
I think you can say hi.
Good cat.
He wants to see your cat, Evie.
Yeah, man, George.
Jimmy, do you have a cat?
Not readily available. I mean, the Siamese is up here, but she's not gonna let me pick her up because she's mean.
Look at
Oh,
big cat.
oh, what a
Gotta-
cutie.
What do we see outside? It was gross, yucky. What do we see? What do we see? It was black and fuzzy. What was it? Child. All right, he knows what it is. We saw this disgusting.
Is he gonna say his favorite person now?
Can you say Jeff Bezos? on my last stream, Jimmy, someone said Jeff Bezos and he just kept saying Jeff Bezos.
Well, he refused to say my name or Anitha's name, but he kept repeating Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Jimmy, when's your next Shadow with Nuts?
Well, I need to do a wrap up like this week, but the problem is that I have work stuff, like specifically work stuff after hours on Friday, so I can't. So I'm considering two options. One, just doing like a Monday night stream, which would probably, be annoying for me because I like to stick to one time.
Big cat right there.
Yeah, you say big cat right there. But I think I might just film it as a normal video and just upload it for the first time in like forever, just because like the timing's not going to work out. And if I wait to next Friday, then the Patreon pick will have 5 less days to be read, whatever it is. It'll probably be 1,000 pages. So just it's the way it goes every time.
Yep. It's so true.
Well, guys, I need to wind us down because the children are up and Christina needs me to watch them while she runs errands. So,
Oh man, I had so many more clickbaity questions for you all.
did you really?
Well, I had one.
Better make a response
one.
video.
Ask it.
I was going to ask about what you all think about the books for men or books that men should read or men like, because I feel like that's a popular topic that keeps coming up. And I'm like, really?
Where is that topic coming up?
It's coming up in a few videos. You'll see it if you just Google it.
I don't.
Books for men. So are there any books for men that you would recommend, Alan?
Okay, so if we're taking this seriously, like if we're not treating this with the contempt it deserves, I think John Williams writes really good books for men, because if you think of Augustus and his male friends, and then Stoner, and then whoever the main character is in Butcher's Crossing, I think there's a lot to be said about masculinity and fatherhood and male friendship and stuff in John Williams's works. So I think men should read all 3 of John Williams's major novels. Just, but I don't think only men should read it. But I mean, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not going to be like
that's fair.
Conan the Barbarian, read the Red Pill, how to keep plates spinning and target high value females with low body counts.
Oh, I don't know why I'm sorry I had to bring it up. It's just that I just think it's funny to me because I'm like, they're always talking about all these books that I also love, which I understand. Like, I guess.
Marcus Aurelius' Meditations has gone there for sure.
Yeah.
That's
right.
going to be on there for sure.
That's a good point.
Jimmy, any books that men should read?
And this off.
I have so many things to say about this, but honestly, I don't feel like being mean, so I'm just not going to say them.
Okay.
But if I had to pick one, it would be I Who Have Never Known Men.
Yes.
I don't know what that is.
Or the Turner Diaries, whichever one you really feel like reading, I guess.
I don't know what that is either.
It's Nazi propaganda. I'm joking.
Oh.
Oh man. So I haven't watched all these videos. Are they all about like being a masculine man?
Gotta be.
I'll be to be fair, I haven't
is that
watched
what
these
they're-
videos either. I've just seen the thumbnail.
All right, new rule. If you can't bench press your body weight 15 times, you don't get to talk about masculinity in a way that
Hold on. Here we go. Here are the men. I just Googled it. Here's 5 books that every man should read. Oh, wait, no. Here's 11 books on some random website. ConnorBeaton.com. To Be a Man by Robert Augustus Masters. Genre, The Psychology of Masculinity. 2, No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert A. Glover. Genre, The Psychology of Modern Men. 3, The Truth by Neil Strauss. Genre, Relationships, Sex, and Intimacy. Written by the guy who wrote The Game, the ultimate book for a-holes in the pickup industry. Book 4, Iron John by Robert Bly. Genre, Folk. Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Milliman. Genre, Folk,
I
Spirituality.
read that when I was younger. Weird.
6, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
I
7,
read it.
Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. Genre, Philosophy, Psychology. 8, Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Genre, Productivity. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Genre, Wealth and Mindset. Men's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Genre, Psychology and Nonfiction. Wisdom of Insecurities by Alan Watts. Genre, Spirituality, Philosophy, and Spirituality.
I thought I would be more well read in men's literature. I feel kind of disappointed in myself now. But
All
I
right,
have read Meditations.
I think
And-
that every man should read Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. To be fair, I also think that everyone, like, I genuinely, no hyperbole, I think it should be required reading for everyone.
Beautiful. Love it. Yeah. Great book.
All right, those of you in the chat, thanks for joining us as we,
Yeah.
I got to hang out with 3 of my favorite people that I haven't hung out
Oh.
with in a hot minute.
Yeah, I just joined to talk to you, Alan, because I thought
Dude, me too.
you died or something. I haven't heard from you.
No. When I try to call you, I was on a work meeting.
That was once.
I know. And then every time,
That means every time.
when I'm driving home, I'm like, I could call Jimmy, but like, I don't want to like ring him if he's in the middle of a work meeting.
I mean, I'll just say I can't pick up the phone.
That's true. I don't know why I don't do
Yeah.
that. All right,
Jared
cool.
calls me every day.
Who calls you every day?
Jared, not really, but he calls me a lot.
Oh,
I like
Wow.
talking on the phone.
that's really
All right,
nice.
I'm better than Jared. Get out of here. That's really nice. I'm going to call him every day.
I've been replaced by Jared. You and I used to talk a lot. How's that?
That's your
Johanna,
fault.
that's because you're too busy. You're too busy not watching TV with Philip.
Well, did we
That's
reach any conclusions in this
Jared.
discussion, by the way, about
Jared said I
Oh.
really pick up. That is not true, Jared. It's not true at all. I pick up at least 50% of your calls.
So, conclusion, any sort of rating system is a star rating.
What's on your face, buddy? What is this? What is this? He was calling it something. What is this?
He's been watching Tom Orange.
Hold on. What is it?
Yeah, totally. Oh,
Hold on. Listen. What is it?
Turtle.
No, it's not a turtle. What is it? You got it right. What'd you call it?
Caterpillar.
He calls it a caterpillar. We saw this black fuzzy caterpillar outside yesterday. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. No, I did not. Anyway, chat, thanks for joining. What? Oh, look at Christina wants me to show you all the photo. Look at that nasty thing.
oh, wow.
What is that?
That's cool looking.
Caterpillar.
It does look like a mustache, kind of.
Christina looked it up and thinks it's a like black leopard moth
Giant leopard moth.
caterpillar.
Black leopard, red moth.
A giant. Attie's trying to do what?
See, Carol.
Weird,
Kettle?
weird child. Anyway, I hear the caterpillar. I got it. All right. Star ratings are superior. That actually, I think the conclusion we came to is we need to like all convert to Steam ratings.
Yeah, I have the superior system.
You're right. You're right. Jimmy once again comes in and proves that he is the superior specimen of
Yes,
BookTube.
but all rating systems are star ratings.
What?
At the end of the day, none of them matter.
That's true.
At the end of the day, no one is going to listen to him anyway, except like
That face, he's so cute. Oh my gosh.
Star ratings are like whose line is it anyway rules, where
the points are made up
yep, and
or something. Everything's made up. What are you trying to do? Take it. Oh,
and the points don't matter.
I think what we should take away is we shouldn't talk about star ratings anymore and just read more.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. Bye, guys.